I'll start by saying everybody is capable of being a really good leader. And how that definition of a leader looks for them might be different, and the way that they approach it and do it might be different. But it also takes effort, even for innate leaders. They still put kind of effort into it, because anytime you're leading other individuals, it's not just about your style as a leader. It's about connecting with the individual and the individuals in a team or in a company, even in your prospects and customers, etc. And I think that's what true leadership is about being able to connect and resonate in a way that works with the other individuals and inspires them.
So before we get into this episode, I want to share something special with you. After organizing to scale so many businesses, the thing that I get asked about the most is, how can I scale with all of these tabs open in my brain? And so I created a free training on exactly how I organize to scale businesses in 90-day sprints. If you would like to get access, you can go to stacygray.com/scale. That's Stacy with an I, Gray with an A.com/scale. Welcome to another episode of The Rooted Founder. Today we're going to be talking about what it takes to grow your business. And I'm talking with Christa Tuttle, and I met her through the Entrepreneurs Organization. And while we were in there, she built her business, she sold her business, and now she's coaching people how to build their businesses. And so this is going to be a fun conversation for me because I love organizing to scale businesses, and we both have such synergies around the process to do that and some of the hurdles that we have to overcome to achieve them. So Christa, excited to have you here.
Thank you. Excited to be here. I had my company for 23 years. So certainly in that experience, I've had plenty of lessons learned, plenty of exciting things happen, and plenty of unexpected things. So I look forward to sharing all of that with you and your audience.
So let's start with just a reflective conversation about you. So in the 23 years of having your business, what was one of the most surprising things that you encountered along that journey?
I think for me probably was the self-discovery. I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, and with that experience, thought that for sure I wanted to work in a big company where you would have a job and there was security and all of those things. And I found myself after college working in tech startups, which immediately I knew was my passion. I love tech. I love to be bleeding edge focused, and I get giddy with excitement about talking about things like algorithms. And then, just different things happened that brought me on my journey to launching my company, which was a marketing services business, helping all B2B tech companies launch, grow, and build a strong sales pipeline. And so, but that was not something when I was young that I envisioned myself doing or being. So it's been an unusual journey for sure, but a great one. But it's definitely that self-discovery.
I love that, because I think sometimes, this is kind of a little bit of a tangent, but maybe important. I think sometimes, like when you graduate high school or college, you're supposed to have a lot of clarity around what you want to do and who you are. And oftentimes we don't. And so the courage to just go pursue a path and know that along that journey, you're going to get more clarity, and then lean into the things that resonated with you and lean away from the things that didn't resonate with you takes so much courage. So I applaud you for that journey.
Thank you. Yeah, I believe, and I will say that my entire life, I have experienced exactly what you're saying, in that I have, where I am today, I never could have envisioned, nor could I have planned for. However, there were many opportunities that popped out of nowhere that I just embraced. Some cases I didn't even see it as an opportunity at the time, but it was interesting. It was tangible. It resonated with me. And I said, yes, and pursued that. And sometimes I was like, never mind, a little while down the road. And other times I was like, yes. And as I get older, I think I can tune in even more to those yeses than I could when I was younger. I'm more willing to listen to them and trust. And so, yeah, so super happy. So I definitely have a lot more yeses, and I get to know really fast.
Yeah, that's been something that I have worked on and learned over the years as well. So let's pick an avatar. You're marketing, so let's like pick somebody. Let's say this person is somebody who's early stage in their business.
Yeah.
Maybe they have a couple of employees and they're maybe high six figures, low seven figures, and they're interested in growing their business and working more on their business versus in their business.
Yep.
What are some things that you recognize in that person that is going to help get them to the next level?
Sure. Yeah, no, that's such a great question. I'll try to unpack that and not be too too in depth. I could probably talk for hours. So one of the first things that I do with any client, and I used to do it in marketing too, when I was talking with prospective marketing clients, is I really want to just spend time with them to understand. And by that, I mean an hour, because I will ask a lot of questions to understand where professionally their business, their goals are for 1, 3, 5 years, what their biggest obstacle is, and what's keeping them up at night. It is very telling and insightful as to what those answers are that they share. And they can range from, oh, wow, that's a great question, and I don't know past 1 year, to, a very built out and thoughtful vision and goals. And, then we will focus in on the keeping them up at night or bringing those things to life. And then I also try, especially now in the coaching side of things, to really understand the individual and what their personal vision, mission, goals are in life. And one thing that somebody asked me, I've had coaches all my life, so I try to take all the nuggets of wisdom that I achieved, was many years ago, I was asked to write my obituary.
Mhm.
And what was the impact that I would have on this earth. And wow, talk about a showstopper. It took me a while to write that and feel comfortable with with what it said and what impact. And then that actually helped shape some of those decisions I made. So with coaching, we can take it all the way to that. It just kind of depends on where an individual is in that moment, and whether I'm working specifically with like a founder CEO, or if I might be working with more of a leadership team. But generally, personal vision and goals is always tied into business vision and goals, because they need to be aligned. If there's misalignment, there is less success.
Yeah, I love the obituary exercise, and it gives you so much clarity on what you value.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I think that when we start our businesses, sometimes we do it because we want money, or we want freedom, or we see a problem, we think we can solve it. And then before we know it, we're just doing, and we're like trapped in it.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so it can be overwhelming, and then it can feel exhausting, and then it can feel like, how am I ever going to get myself out of this? People are like, slow down to go faster. Hey, you really need to create processes and procedures, or you got to hire somebody. Like, when somebody's in that state, how do you help after they, you help them get clarity on their goals, all of that, and they know where they're going to go now? How do you help them take that next leap?
The next step, personally or professionally?
Well, let's do both, because I feel
All of
like
them? Yeah. So, a lot of times on kind of let's just start with the personal side. So on the personal side, if they do have clarity, then we'll dive in deeper to understand, like, based on whatever those personal goals are, what is the plan to help them achieve them? What are the milestones along the way? Because let's just say you're 25 and you want to retire young at 50 or 40. That's still 15 or 25 years down the road. And there's a lot that's going to happen in there. So like if that is a personal goal of them, we'll really dig under the hood. I'll just pretend they want to retire at 40. What does that look like? What's the why to do that? Is it because they, want to move to Tibet and be a monk for the rest of their lives after that? Is it because they want a private jet and fly to every continent once a year? Like, what is it that really drives them? And then helping to kind of map out what it would take to achieve that, and to really think, just to really own and be happy with whatever that goal is, and to what are the steps along the way. Nobody becomes a billionaire, from Saturday to Sunday. There's a lot of work that goes into that. If you ask every single billionaire on this earth, they experienced a lot more failures, mistakes, lessons learned than they did successes, right? They've definitely earned the successes and earned the learnings that came along the way. And so I'd just be helping them, individuals, to recognize that in life, there are milestones. It's not a straight line from here to there. It might be an up and a down and an up and a down and a sideways, but you want to be able to at least recognize direction. And then from a business perspective too, would be understanding, if there is clarity on what those goals are, then creating that roadmap in order to get there, because there are lots of moving parts and lots of people and activities involved in that. And then again, establishing what are key milestones kind of along the way in order to achieve that. Because success is about the journey, not just the end destination. So, or that's the way I look at it.
Yes. What is your definition of success?
Oh gosh. So my definition of success now, I would say it's continues to evolve, but I don't think it's going to evolve too much further than this, is because somebody shared it with me and it just stuck. So I want to experience joy every day. And it was shared with me that I exude joy, and that the ability to exude that creates magic in others. And so, and in those things around me. And I was like, holy cow, that could be like my purpose, right? Because it took me forever to be working on my purpose. And I wouldn't say I've completely figured it out, still work in progress. But if I could spread magic to everyone around me, or even just one other person around me in a period of time, to me, that's purposeful and impactful and positive. So that's hugely successful. I mean, you could go off about what are material successes and things like that. And I definitely was very plan and vision oriented, and have checked off a lot of those. And so now I'm focused on soul filling successes.
This resonates with me so much. So I got the opportunity to be on a cruise with Kim Kiyosaki, and she was talking about a bumblebee and how a bumblebee goes for nectar. But when they go for nectar, they're also pollinating. So their purpose is pollination, but what their target is, what their goal is nectar. And so when you just said you feel like your purpose is joy and you exude joy, I the first time I met you, I was like, oh, you just remind me of Brene Brown. You're just like a walking dog. So I can see that already. And so I maybe just want to reflect back to you that possibly you're already living your purpose, because joy is your pollination, and that's what you're doing already just by your essence. And then your nectar is the target. And so you have your coaching business, or you built the marketing business, or you're a mom, or you're a spouse. And those are different roles and different things that you do. But how you're being in those doing is joy. And therefore it's already fulfilling the purpose.
Oh, thank you. That touched my heart. I so appreciate that.
Yes. I think sometimes we get so caught up in really getting to a destination, which, anchoring all the way back to what you said, is success is about the journey, not the destination. and we hold our breaths or we make the journey unbearable just so we can get to this spot. And then we get to that spot and it doesn't feel like we thought it would. So I'm curious, now that you're like more in the soul journey as well, what are some practices that you personally do for yourself and maybe even inside of your business that help you enjoy the journey?
Yeah. Gosh, and that has evolved and continues to evolve. So for me, one of the things that I've always worked on, I'm getting much better at it than I was before. But again, to the comment about the journey, I'm still not very good at it, is about being really present.
Hmm.
And all the I mean, all the time. If I were to do that, that would be amazing. But you know, I kind of pat myself on the back if I could be like really present for 2 or 3 minutes on anything, you know, at a time right now, because there were periods when I struggled.
Yeah.
I I meditate, but I'm not super great at like meditating and sitting quietly. And I had one person share with me that meditation isn't just about sitting quietly. And I was like, thank God. Um, but but it's also about just, you know, being meditating and being present in whatever environment. So for me, nature and outdoors is an environment that fills my soul. So like I can go for a walk and I will focus on and feel the presence of the sun shining down on me, or like on a day like today, the really cold wind blowing because it's winter in Austin. You know, but I'll just be really present. I'll hear the birds, I'll hear all the little noises. And that's a form of meditation. I also am an equestrian, and I am blessed to have been around horses since I was 5 years old. And that fills my soul too. And that is very healing, because, you know, horses can pick up on energy. And so you have to be present. And if you're not present, and I have not been present sometimes, and I have sand on my body because I quickly met with the earth. And so, but then I have the opposite of that. I have a young horse, and like when we're learning to jump, he's learning to jump, but you have amazing course of jumps. Like there is nothing more magical than that. So, so I kind of just try to take in all those experiences. I am also very spiritual. I am also very into, I don't know what all the right words are, but like I'm very into and harmonious with like the energy that is put off in the universe or by individuals or things that I'm engaging with. Cause I do believe there's energy in everything all the time.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. I say the energy, infinite intelligence, source, God, faith, whatever we want to call it, it's that
yeah,
thing. And I think most humans feel it on some level.
yeah.
And we call it different things and we resonate with it in different ways, but it does anchor us. And I am very similar to you. I meditate, and nature is something that really helps me keep all of my soul in my body. And then
Mhm.
I find that the capacity to be anchored or rooted in that way allows me to show up in business as a more empowered leader, and also empower more leaders around me to become rooted in themselves and take more ownership of their responsibilities inside of the business. So I'm curious for you, like, a lot of building and scaling businesses is leadership development. It's leading
Oh
yourself
yeah.
well and then leading others well. And
Yep.
so, as we're coming kind of a little bit back to the business side of things, what is some of like the leadership progress that you've maybe personally experienced or help people navigate when they're looking to hire, say, their right hand person?
Yeah, gosh, there's so many great questions within, or nuggets that I could share within that. So I think one, I'll start by saying everybody is capable of being a really good leader,
Mm.
and how that definition of a leader looks for them might be different, and the way that they approach it and do it might be different. Um, but it also takes effort, even for innate leaders. They still put kind of effort into it. Because anytime you're leading other individuals, it's not just about your style as a leader. It's about connecting with the individual and the individuals in the team or in a company, even in your prospects and customers, etc. And I think that's what true leadership is about being able to connect and resonate in a way that works with the other individuals and inspires them. So I would say that's something that everybody's capable of. You asked the question about like, how do you find your second or your right hand? So when businesses are smaller and they're going from I'm the founder CEO and I wear every single hat to I'm starting to offload, and that oftentimes that right hand is the first very strategic hire for them. And oftentimes I can use this for myself too as a financial investment too, because it was a level up in a salary comparative to other individuals that I was hiring for. And what I have seen at that stage is if somebody can be really candid and straightforward about who they are, what their strengths are that they bring to the table, what their opportunity areas are that they bring to the table, and then what's required for their business. From there, they can kind of uncover what would be the ideal profile of an individual, not just from a job description and capabilities, that is absolutely critical, but then also what would be kind of the profile of the individual that would complement the skills and capabilities for the business. And I say that for the business because they may not always complement as in be like, oh yeah, I can hang out on a Friday night with that person, right? Because if you're really doing it justice, you may have somebody that's kind of similar and very easy to get along with, or you may have somebody that brings opposite or different perspectives in the most positive way, but challenges you at work, you know? So I don't
Yeah.
know if that gives you a little bit of a nugget there, but one of the things that I did at my company was, and I now became a licensed practitioner, is insights discovery, which helps people lead, communicate, and collaborate more effectively because it is based on an individual's like instinctual behavioral and communication styles. So it kind of makes a little bit more black and white to assess and see on paper like who you are, and it's crazy accurate. It's almost scary how accurate it is, but then it's a great tool for improving and optimizing communication.
We use tools as well, and I
Yeah.
find them incredibly helpful.
Mhm.
In your experience, so I think finding a right hand person is one of the biggest struggles in business, like that first hurdle that you really, I mean, yes, getting your vision and your goals, but in terms of hiring, like really finding who aligns with you. Um, Maybe even inside your business, but also the people that you coach. Do they usually get it right the first time?
I have been both, you know, as a peer to many other entrepreneurs, as a coach, and as a recipient of coaching in my business. I would say no, not everybody gets it right the first time, and that's okay because every step taken is a step forward, right? It's only an issue if you repeat the same mistakes, you know, over and over again. um, so yeah, I feel very, very blessed and lucky. One of my clients introduced me to someone who was just interested in maybe getting into the agency world, and this is back when my business was really small. And I was like, sure, I'll have a conversation. I'm always happy to help anybody that's wanting to check it out. They had a job. They were client side in a startup and kind of evaluating startup versus agency side. I wasn't hiring. I wasn't planning to hire. I was just planning to be a helpful resource. And I met with this individual and we just talked and talked and talked, and her vision and goals and what I needed and her strengths were so synergistic that I remember after that conversation, I like left and I just kept thinking about it. And then I was like, I just need to ask her, like, if she wants to move to an agency, like, I want to talk to her. So anyways, long and the short of it, I did hire her, and she was with me for 16 years. And she continues on with the company after it was sold, and, is the right and the left hand to today, the CEO, just like she was for me. So
I think this is such a good point, because that has been my experience as well. You don't get it right the first time, and it's
yeah,
okay. You learn so much by
yeah,
not getting it right.
yeah.
And then I think the second part to what you've said, and I've seen this happen in my business and multiple times with clients as well, is the alignment of vision and trust in somebody who has energy and agency. So this, your right hand, left hand person, she already had energy and agency around getting involved in an agency. I know I'm using that agency word twice, but
Yeah, no,
agency,
that's fine.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes when we think of our right hand person, it can feel hierarchical. And when somebody comes in and they're like an entrepreneur inside of your business,
Mm-hmm.
their energy around your cause is like they have skin in the game. They want it just as much as you want it. And that ends up being the best right hand, left hand person, because you're not dragging them by any stretch of the imagination.
Yep. Yeah. And being an entrepreneur is, there's something special in our genes. And you can take that as a positive or a challenge, right? But we're risk takers. I mean, let's face it. I didn't really see myself as being a risk taker, but if I reflect back, yeah, I definitely am, right? When it comes to business. And to your point, a right or a left hand, often they deliver so much value, and they probably could run the company for sure. Shauna could run my company, but the desire to take that risk and like own it, there's huge upsides for being a business owner, but there's also lots of challenges and downsides, right? And there are many that don't want that, but yet will be right there, hand in hand, arm in arm, with a business owner or founders, to make it happen and bring it to life, because that is their passion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And once you get that dynamic duo right, it feels so good. It feels like
oh
you're off
yeah.
to the races. You feel like you can even take more risks than you did previously because you feel like you have a backstop. It's getting that right hand person is critical for the next step, which is really operationalizing your business.
Absolutely. So do you want me to just dive in and
Yeah.
share a little bit?
I would
Yeah.
love to.
So as I'm a very operationally minded person, so I come from that lens as well. I've seen a lot of businesses go, okay, now we're, hiring lots of people. We can't keep it all in our heads and in Excel spreadsheets and post-it notes, and we need to operationalize things and develop processes. That allows you to scale. It also allows you to exit, because if something's in Excel spreadsheets and post-its, nobody wants to buy your company. But what I will say is, I think operationalizing starts on day one or maybe day two. And, it doesn't have to be, I think there's this like view of what people think an operationalized business is and what it looks like. And as a, founder, day one or month one of starting a company, that just seems so far down the road. And that's fair. But there are baby steps that you can take along the way. Like, I'm working with a client right now. They're closer to seven figures. They have a team. They've been in business for a while. And, we're talking about operationalizing things. Well, they're looking to hire a new position. And, even as starting with, let's create formal job descriptions for every position that you have, where you already have team members, have them review it, have them tweak it. Better yet, have them write the first draft,
Yeah.
And use that as a starting point. And then, you can build on that. Then you can create and document your hiring process. Then you can, do like little bits at a time. But yeah, any opportunity where someone is doing things more than once, or you as a founder are having to do it, you need to work yourself out of a job, which one will never do unless they're really focused on making that happen. But the more you can like offload the to other people enables you to do just the things that you're most passionate about and are most impactful to the business.
What do you think are some of the blocks that prevent leaders from taking that step to operationalize their business?
I think I would say probably two things that I've seen. One is that it feels kind of overwhelming and big and maybe lower priority than everything else. Because it seems like I need to sit down and spend 8 hours doing job descriptions. Well, you in that example,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well, you don't like take 30 minutes, do one.
Yeah.
Have your team have a 10-minute conversation with the team members that you have. Say, pull it off of AI or wherever. Here's a job description. Go to Indeed and get the job description based on the title they have and say, I want you, person, to please review this job description, make it more relevant for this particular business, add things, remove things, blah, 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 and then bring it back to me. And then you could take 15 minutes to say, I like this, or maybe this is what that person's doing, but the role actually needs more. So then you tweak it and then boom, you've got one done. Right. So, so I think that's probably one thing is just that feeling of overwhelm and how do I prioritize what to do? And then the other is, some people are, maybe less wired and innately, naturally detail oriented or of that nature. And that's great. It takes all types in order to make business and life move forward effectively, right? But if that is you, then who is someone in your organization or someone that you can bring in fractionally that is really a strength to complement your opportunity areas and have them do it? I think those are two key things that I see most commonly.
Yeah, I also going back to your energy comment, I have found too that sometimes when we have this running list of, oh, we should operationalize our business, or I should create this job description, or I really need an accountability chart, or I really need a scorecard,
Yeah.
we are having these like tabs open in our brain that, okay, someday my tickler list is I'm going to get to, and it drains our energy. So
Mm-hmm.
just the effort of like, okay, for 15 minutes, I'm going to set my timer and focus on getting this thing off. The ROI energetically is
Yeah.
so powerful for the leader because they have one less thing to worry about, and then they can move on to the revenue generating activities or, and really operationalizing allows for increased profit margin. So not doing it, you've got
100%.
so much revenue, and sometimes
Yeah.
we don't talk about it from that angle.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Which makes me think too on, the other thing that I've seen, because it just triggered it when you were sharing, is that sometimes, oh, it's just faster and easier.
To do
I'm
it
just going to
yourself.
do it real quick.
Yeah.
Then I can go on to my next thing. And well, that is true. Then you're going to have to do it real quick forever, as opposed to slowly one more time. Right. And then somebody else can do that. So
Yeah.
I see that, but I generally only see that at the very earliest stages when there's, maybe one, two, three people tends to be most commonly where that comes up.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Such good nuggets. I'm excited for the coaching journey you're on and helping entrepreneurs, real founders and CEOs really develop, lead, and create clear communication with their teams, because without the vision, the goal, the right-hand person, operational systems, it's really hard to scale. And to your point, if it's on sticky notes and your desk and it's a little bit scattered, it's not an asset you can sell, because when you sell a business, you're selling the systems.
You are, yeah. You're selling something that is standalone and separate from you or group of founders, and that can run long term,
Yeah.
right? Without you at the helm. So
So
for
what
sure.
projects are you super excited about that are on your next 2025, let's say?
Yeah, I have two things. So I am just embarking on this new adventure formally because I exited in 2024 from launch. And so one is I mentioned very briefly about insights discovery, and I am a licensed practitioner now, which is new. We've used that at my company for 21 years, so I know it intimately, and so I can now be an evangelist. So I am working with organizations, for profit, nonprofit, to help them, uh, individuals lead, communicate, collaborate more effectively. I've seen the ones that I've worked with already increases in productivity, more team cohesiveness, and then it's really helping support growth. In fact, I'm finding, like Vista Equity as an example, largest private equity firm in the world, has every single portfolio company and board be insights profiled. That's how impactful it is. And so when I discovered that, I was like, great, because Launch has been doing it too. So I'm super familiar. So that's probably a big, big passion project for me. And then I'm also involved with the alternative board as a coach and board facilitator. And so I'll be launching a board in Austin early this year as well. So very excited about that. So that'll be kind of a cohort of earlier stage businesses that will help guide through to growth and success in the years ahead.
Oh, I love all of this for you. This is going to be an exciting year.
Thank you. I'm super looking forward to it.
If people want to connect with you, how would they find you?
Yes. So I am on LinkedIn. Christa Tuttle is probably the easiest way to look it up, but my handle is B2B Tech Marketer for LinkedIn, which probably tells you how old I am because I could get a handle that you chose the name for. And then I'm also on email at krista.tuttle@live.com.
I love it. Well, it was a pleasure connecting with you and hearing about the major success of exiting your business in 2024, and then the more exciting new venture of starting your coaching business. And and also just that you're living your purpose already. That you're just a bottle of joy, walking around, coaching people, building businesses. It's such a blessing. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful to catch up, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.
Yes. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. I hope that this helps you build your business and also keep all of your soul in your body as you scale. Cheers, y'all.